Good evening. I'd like to call to order the school committee meeting of June 22nd, 2021. I take a motion to open the meeting. Moved by Ellen.
Second.
Second by Trista. All in favor?
Aye.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence. Thank you. All right, our first agenda item is a report from the East Bridgewater Junior Senior High School Student Advisory Council member who is not with us tonight, so we will move on to item number 2, Superintendent's Corner.
In your packet, well, good evening. We have, yesterday was our last day of school here in the district, as probably all of you know with your children. It went very well. The last week was tough on all the principals. They were out and about at every school, moving around. The kids had a great time. We had field days. They had lots of activities. We tried to give out as many popsicles as we could. Tried to get everybody something in the last couple of days here. Yesterday was terrific. The high school was the first to release, and then we, Dr. Williams and I went and saw the kids leave at the high school, went over and saw the kids leave at Mitchell School. And then we saw the students leave at Central School, which is always a great day when they leave because all the teachers come out and wish them well at all of the schools, and so it was nice to see that. The kids don't want to leave. They want to leave, but they don't want to leave, but it was nice to come to a culmination here at the end and to be able to walk out on June 21st, knowing that by next year we should be back to normal. Whatever normal is in today's day and age, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, or with a mix of both or of a hybrid. So we're looking forward to that. We've got lots of things on the summer programming coming up. I know that Dr. Williams went over that at the last meeting. ESY starts on July 6th. Little Viking starts on July 6th. So we have a summer enrichment program starting on July 6th. We have a strength and conditioning program starting up in the this week. Next week, they had kids in the weight room today here at the junior senior high school. Lots going on all over the district. As you can see today, I was over at the Central School for a bit, watching the scaffolding being put up. We've been waiting for June 21st as much as we don't want the students to leave and we don't want to see anything happen while they were there. We had to get moving on the building of the new roof and the construction. I don't know if anybody drove by Central School today. It was very active. I think I was over there around 11 o'clock this morning, and I can't believe how quickly the scaffolding on the front has gone up and the booms on the top. They have catwalks up on top where they can walk from one end to the roof to the other. There's a lot of action going on over there. The playground has been shut down with new signs up there this morning. They'll be shutting down the driveways. The only reason the driveways are open right now is because there are some pallets that are still being delivered. Most everything has been delivered at this time because we started ordering way back once we were in the queue with the MSBA. But everything will be shut down. On the weekends, there will be some some horses up so that people cannot drive through. The back entrance off of 18, where the buses go out, has been locked. It is closed down. Our gate from the high school back parking lot where the preschool mod is to go into where the buses arrive next to the playground, that has been locked down. So there is no activity at Central School. We just ask that people abide by the rules at this time so that nobody gets injured and there's just no foul play in there. We just don't want anything to happen. But it's going to be very busy. We got like a sort of monsoon this afternoon, I think around 2:30, 3 o'clock. Mrs. Byrne had just walked over and she got stuck here for a couple of hours, about an hour with Dr. Williams and myself. But it came down pretty hard. So they stopped, obviously, construction work at that time and had to come down off the roofs. So hopefully there's not too much of that rain going on so that we can get them here during Monday through Friday, because when they work on the weekends, it's overtime, and that's when we go into contingency pay. So I have to keep that in mind. And we'd want to get them done by August.
And we're not doing the overtime right away, right? We're just going to see how the summer goes.
No, but it just, we try to get to see how the summer goes because we built in 10 days. So the contractors and Brian Kiley, I think, build in about 10 to 12 days, just in case. So we don't want too many more these days. We want to make sure they get through the end of the day. We have an Eagle Scout project, and the enclosure is in your packet today. This Eagle Scout project is from Brian Rapetta. He is one of our students here at the high school, and he will be cleaning and taking care of and working on the band room, which is in back of the concession stand here at the high school. And it is back of the auditorium. It's a small closet, and it's where all of their band equipment is, and all of the risers are, and it's hard for the kids to get in and out and get their instruments and get the risers out, and when they have to get ready for a concert or going to play someplace off campus. So Brian has taken on that project. We wish him luck. He's going to start. This is his Eagle Scout project, and so it's right here in your packet.
Great.
He's going to come when it's all done, and he'll have this pictures. He said he'll give us some pictures and talk about the project and why he chose to do that.
This is a summer, how long
Yes.
are you thinking?
Yep, it'll be a summer project, and he'll probably do some of it. I think he'll have it all done.
Yep.
I don't think it'll be too long, but they do a nice job on the materials and
Sure.
and how they set this up, so I thought it was a nice thing for him to think about us when it's Eagle Scout project. I talked about the last day of school, the summer programs. I don't think I've missed anything, Dr. Williams?
No, one last email went out specifically for grades 7 through 12. It's been a little bit more challenging to recruit our 7th through 12th graders for summer programming. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible in offering drop-in tutoring, even just coming one day a week, an hour or so, just, for us to be able to touch base with students, see how they're doing. I might have mentioned at our last meeting, Mrs. McGovern is going to run summer reading book club for the students that, well, all students need to get their summer reading done, but maybe as an incentive for parents who may struggle with their student to get their reading done in a timely manner, that she'll be offering that as well. So maybe that'll be a little bit more enticing, knowing everyone has to complete their summer reading, that they could do it here in a book club format. So we're hoping we have about, I think Ms. Linehan said we had about 15 more slots that we could fill. But certainly if we get more than that, we'll just continue to add staff. But with the current staff we have right now, about 15 openings.
And these are students not with an IEP? These are students?
No, they could be students with an individual education plan, but not eligible for ESY. ESY did expand their opportunities for students that are on plans, but the Acceleration Academy is specifically for students that wouldn't otherwise be eligible for ESY.
We're trying to open it up to more acceleration and more remediation.
And fun.
And fun.
We're gonna
And
have
just be,
Good news from the
babies
commissioner
and
about
goat
masks and
yoga.
Right, and that's my next,
Yeah.
I just passed that out to you. I think you all have a copy of that. So the commissioner, on Saturday evening, updated his policy, and this comes from the Department of Education, elementary and secondary education. Masks become optional for the summer programming, and at this time, we are looking for no masks in the fall. We're still going to, if students want to wear the mask, if parents feel that they would like to send their child with a mask, that is entirely up to you. They are optional, according to DESE, and I'd like to follow those guidelines. We also are, we still think that getting the vaccination for our staff, faculty, and the students who are still eligible between 12 and 18 should receive the vaccination. I understand that some parents don't want their children to get the vaccination. That's entirely up to you. But it's not a mandate still at the public school level, so we're still just trying to say we recommend it and we recommend the mask. But I can tell you this, that a lot of parents are very happy that we're not using masks during the summer, that we'd like to go optional, and that we saw this. Now, I'm bringing it to your attention this evening. I'd like to follow DESE guidance. We followed DESE guidance throughout the COVID pandemic, which we're just coming out of, and I understand that, but I'd still like to stay with the DESE guidance. I think it just keeps it streamlined and moving in that direction. And then the last thing that I have in my corner is that on June 13th, from 4 to 7 up in the town common, there was the first annual multiculturalism in the park. It was a really nice day for families to get out and to celebrate our diversity in the town of East Bridgewater, and there was other people that had come from different communities to come to the park and enjoy. There was different types of food, there was music, there were, Senator Brady was there, there was a poet, I cannot remember her name, but she was from, I believe, Brockton. She did a great job, it was really neat. She really did a nice poem, and she got everyone involved, and I thought was great. We have a lot of work to do, and I think I said this there, and I say it all the time. There is work to be done in the school district, but there's also to be work done in the community of East Bridgewater. We certainly can't do this alone. We need the help of our community. We need the help of our parents and our students. We have a Unity Club here. We'd like to see that. I believe that'll get more interactive with our student body, K through 12, over the next year or so. I think putting it in our strategic plan, which we'll start to give a timeline for that and get that out to everybody and start working with community members. And I've been working with the EBCC and having some meetings. The next meeting, whether we have it in July or the beginning of August, will be with our principals and the administration team to listen to the EBCC and to hear from community members on what we can do as leaders in our own buildings and then leaders of the district. But it was a nice time. I was glad that I went and glad that I partaked and saw some of the school committee members there. There were some teachers there. Julia Sheehan is a big advocate and is head of the Unity Club here and works a lot on the diverse and inclusivity here at the junior senior high school, and would like to, and I know that talked to Dr. Williams about the book club and getting more books that are more inclusive, that have more of a diverse flavor. So we're starting to get there, and we're starting to move forward. You know, like I said before, it takes a village to raise a child, so we'll get there sooner than later, but I don't think we're the only district that is coming to the starting line or that has just taken off. I have seen other districts, and I know I was asked this question through an email. Are we going to get a diversity inclusion person at central office? Yes, there are districts that have hired a central office person. Dr. Williams does oversee our Title IX and does oversee that area of gender equity, of diversity. Are we there yet? No, because it wasn't in our strategic plan, so it's hard for me to have put it into a budget item at this time. Although looking forward, it may be a place where we want to look at. Dr. Williams and I did have this conversation last week, just talking about it, and we thought maybe looking with another district of the size of East Bridgewater, maybe partnering with a person and share and allocate costs with that person, and maybe, a district like the West Bridgewater. Bridgewater-Rainham is bigger than us. It's more diverse. But also having conversations with Superintendent Bodwell in West Bridgewater, that may be something that we could share, or with an Abington. West Bridgewater's at 1,300, we're at 2,300 students, Abington's about 2,400 students, 25. So we're right around those areas. Do we want to share those costs, and then you have the same ideas and the same thought process and the same ways that people are going in the direction of diversity and inclusion, because we are in the same, 4-mile radius. But that's something that Dr. Williams and I spoke about, and we'll bring it to meetings when we start moving forward and to see where we're at.
Right. Any questions?
I have one question, just so parents can make informed decisions about whether or not they want their children wearing masks. Do we have any idea what the classrooms are going to look like at the summer programs? I know a lot of the Little Viking stuff will be outside, but for the Acceleration Academy and for ESY, do we have any idea yet how many kids there will be in a classroom or anything like that? I know it's still early, so we might not have
Right,
that.
so it'll all be housed here. We'll be using classroom spaces here, just like ESY will be. And the groupings will be fairly small, maybe
Okay.
10 to 15 students within each. So ample space within the classrooms for spreading out.
Thank you.
And I did see Sandy Tellis, who's the coordinator, director of ESY today. She came in with Jay Fallon, director of special needs, came in and saw me I guess late this afternoon. She asked about masks. We're saying that they're optional. She will also tell the parents and talk to kids about, just making sure that, I have to tell you, the kids are still practicing social distancing, and they're still looking around to make sure it's okay to take their masks off and this and that, or how close they can get to somebody. So I do know that I am positive that we will make lots of announcements as parents come through, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the plan for the fall is that social distancing measures won't even be in place for September.
And you can see that in the guidance.
Great. Yeah,
A gradual transition.
sure.
Right.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Public comments? Seeing no one, moving on in the agenda. All right, you have before you the superintendent's evaluation for the 2020-21 school year. So this was compiled by myself and then cross-checked by Trista over the last 2 weeks. 4 of the 6 committee members weighed in on it. And so what we did this year is, rather than compiling comments into one bulleted section, we gave each person their narrative listed as a separate evaluator in the narrative. So each person had the ability to have their thoughts and observations rolled out. Overall, I mean, I think, we talked about this earlier, that there's a lot to feel great about this year, Superintendent Legault. There's a lot of things. I don't think in August, when we were looking at what the year was going to look like, anyone really imagined how it was going to roll out, you included. And, it was dicey in terms of numbers for a while there, but the school stayed open, kids were able to come to school, models shifted on the fly, you brought us in under budget. There's a lot to feel great about this year and a lot you should feel proud of. There were a few things that we noted in the evaluation, I think, growth areas for the district that, we'd like to see. I think that the town in general would like to see the high school, our administrative team, be stable, be built for the long run. It helps our kids, helps our staff. And then to work on communication, and we can talk about that, what that looks like in the fall, whether it's, weekly, bi-weekly, audio, visual, however that looks. I just think a communication plan coming from the superintendent's office would only sell what we're doing here in the district better. But I think, there's a lot to feel really good about here this year, and you should be very proud of the work you've done this year.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I have a great team.
Absolutely. Any other comments or feedback or anything anyone wanted to add? Okay.
Just thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry. No, I think our comments really get at how grateful we are in the community is for your leadership, especially in this last year. I think one of the comments is like, no reasonable person should have had any clue of what last year would have brought. So we appreciate you and your hard work.
Thank you.
At this time, I take a motion to approve the superintendent's summative evaluation report for the 2020-2021 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Ellen,
Second.
second by Trista. All in favor? Aye. All right. So we have a couple financial updates. Mr. Shea is not with us tonight.
Right, and so in your packet, and if Gina wants to go over anything that, I know he did call into her, but I did speak with him on the phone prior to the meeting, and he thought if there was any questions that anybody had, it would be prudent to, especially about ESSER III funds that you'll see that you have enclosed in your packet, to please direct your questions to him in an email. You can CC myself, or you can CC Dr. Williams. I don't know if Dr. Williams wanted to just highlight anything that Mr. Shea brought up, but I did speak to him just a little while ago, and he thought that if you had any questions, the big thing is the ESSER III funds that are be coming out. There comes with requirements on that, what we're going to do to get those ESSER III funds. We've also been talked about these ARPA funds, the ARPA funds that go directly to the town. John's just getting acclimated into that. There's a lot coming out. There's a lot of information coming out, a lot of financial information that's going to come out throughout the summer, and I think that it's only prudent for him to, be able to be here or to answer your questions, because he will become the expert in these as we go through. Want to highlight anything?
The only thing is, I mean, a lot of the use for funding in ESSER three is very similar to ESSER one and ESSER two. The only difference between them is that we do have to have a district plan, which we did create a reopening plan in August. We would just have to revise that, and we need to make sure that we have all stakeholders involved when we revise that plan, and that the plan has to be made public within 30 days of receiving the funds. So those are the biggest difference between the funding. But you'll see, as we create a plan, it's for a lot of the same things, basically trying to close the instructional gaps that were formed, both from an academic and a social emotional standpoint.
Right. Thank you. Quick question, was the definition, did they alter the definition at all with ESSER three of, let me rephrase that. So when we look at like using funding for staffing, for closing gaps, was there a specific definition about it using, like, augmenting existing or funding existing positions? Or does it have to be new positions or new programs that you're creating in order to use the funding?
So they do have an assurance in there, and basically that we're not gonna go below what we currently have. We don't want to use the money for other things besides the instructional staff that we have. So
Sure.
we need to maintain the per pupil that we currently have.
Sure.
So we look at it more as additional as opposed to using it for current.
So you couldn't use it to fund a reading teacher, for example, or offset, like something that was existing and you were already funding?
Yeah, we could,
Yep.
as long as we haven't then put ourselves below our current per pupil expenditures, if we then divide that out amongst the current. So we can't take too many of the current positions.
Gotcha.
Because that would put us below the extra spending we should be using the money for.
Okay.
You can't pad and just.
Sure.
Just so, because I know that this comes up, you can't pad somebody's salary.
Sure,
You can't increase a salary because you have extra money.
sure.
You know, we,
But bringing a
Or
.8
take
to
the
a
existing-
1.0.
Or-
Right,
you could do
or
that,
take
yeah.
I don't even
We're-
know what it, 1.2 million,
Yeah.
and
Right.
apply it to 1.2 of our current budget.
Gotcha.
We
So
wouldn't
the
be-
offset.
and we're looking at like Saturday programs. You know, what could we do on a Saturday morning? And that's sort of programming. That's the sort of programming you're looking for. See kids involved all the time so that there's no loss. Those can be upticks of loss of learning or time on task
Gotcha.
for next year. So we are looking at those types of things. And after-school programming,
And we have several years to use this, correct? It's for 22 and 23?
24,
24 as well.
ESSER three goes to 24.
24.
Right.
Do we have a timeline of when we would receive those funds and therefore when we'd have to like make this plan up? Is it like,
ESSER two is just coming. We should be seeing that allocation, or we should be just seeing that allocation
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
So then we gotta use that.
okay.
That gets you up to 23.
Oh, so
Then,
it's- okay.
once as you get through this money, John continues to push forth the DESI
Mm-hmm.
into the feds, and then they just put it through, and then once we're done with that year, they'll just put it in. So like July 1st, we had to spend down, of course, we have to spend down our budget
Yeah.
from last year, and then we submit this. John submitted ESSER two not too long ago, so that he would be ready for summer. Then we start with ESSER two for the next year. So it's a convoluted way, it's just like Chapter 70, you know?
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
get Chapter 70 funds? But there is no exact timeline.
Okay.
There are some, I will tell you this, I do know that some of the schools that stayed totally remote haven't even touched their ESSER one
Yeah.
funds. So they're just starting to, because they didn't need them. So,
Gotcha.
you know, now that they're bringing kids back, now that's gonna have to start, now you'll start to see them use. So,
So we're going to be talking about this for 2 or 3 school years.
oh, yeah,
and-
you might even see more.
Yeah, the plan has to be revised at a minimum of every 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So this ESSER three has to be submitted by October 4th, but we can have spent the money back to March of 2020. It could be things that we put in that we can apply that money to.
Gotcha.
And I think it said like July 1st is the earliest ESSER three money could start to be spent. Clearly, our plan would need to be in by July 1st in order
Yeah.
to do that. But we have until October 4th, I believe, in order to submit the ESSER three.
So it actually acts also as reimbursement. You can go back and review what the funds were spent on and say this would qualify under. Okay.
Yep.
It's really remarkable. We spend so much time in education talking about unfunded mandates, and yet with this entire scenario, I don't think you can ever claim that the government did not step up with
No.
funding to help
Yep.
make districts
And I think the
work
way
with this.
that they're doing it, sending it directly, especially the ARPA funds, sending it directly, they're like Plymouth County. They didn't send it to the they didn't send it to the state. They sent it to towns, counties, because they found that many times they send them to the state will take them and allocate them the way that they already have their funding budgets set up. So you find that some communities get less than other communities that
Which
really
happened.
should, which happened.
Yeah.
And it happens. Where with Plymouth County, we actually did very well working with the commissioner, and having Plymouth County say no and keeping the money in Plymouth County. We actually received more money from the CARES Act of $1.2 million for East Bridgewater Public Schools we would have never saw.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I mean, if you saw our Chapter 70 funding right now, it's only gone up. So.
So if you have any questions about any of this, you can reach out to John. He will be available via email. Thank you. We have in front of us the minutes from our most recent school committee meeting. So I would take a motion to approve the school committee meetings from, minutes from June 8th, 2021.
Moved.
Moved by Ellen,
Second.
second by Amanda, all in favor?
Aye.
And I would take a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 51 SV dated 6/16/2021.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda,
Second, or you can take it.
second by Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
I would take a motion to approve payroll warrant 52 PS dated 6/23/21.
So moved.
Moved by Ellen, second by
Amanda.
Amanda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then we have one more action item, but did you want to talk about it real quick?
So we have assistant principals. We have 3 of them, and they are in a union. And there was no language changes in the contract. We did change the salary piece. I gave you all a copy of that. I did speak to Mrs. Dupre and Mrs. Nichols. They came in and met with me, I don't know, a month ago, or 2 months ago, and then we said, let's hold off for a little bit, because we were waiting for another assistant principal. And then we spoke this week, and we had that, everything got signed off on. We had our attorneys look it over. There was no additional language. The only additional language is, and I did put it in all of our contracts that we did, that Gina, John, and I put together this year, and including Jay Fallon, is that if in the event that we ever have a catastrophic event, like a pandemic, that we would, at the superintendent's discretion, would offer more time, sick time, to an individual who possibly only came in that first year and only has 10 days. We had a few teacher assistants this year, instructional assistants, and I think 2, maybe a couple of teachers who immediately ran out of time about October, November, and I gave them time. I have that discretion. I felt it was the right thing to do, so we did give people extra time. We thought that it would be the right thing to do, or I felt it was the right thing to do on behalf of the district, to offer people 10 days if, in the event that we go into a pandemic again, and that someone goes right through 10 days of sick time, they at least have 10 other days, especially with, young families or parents, or if you're taking care of someone else. So that's the only addition in the language, the assistant principals. All the other languages were the same.
So the new salary schedule is in front of you.
Yes.
The next 3 years for them, and that's, again, for the individuals, there's 1 in each building, so. So at this time, I take a motion to ratify the July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024 Assistant Principal's Contract.
So moved.
Moved by Trista,
Second.
second by Amanda. All in favor? Aye. Anything else? All right, thank you. And
I just want everybody to know that the principals are going to be out a little bit right off the bat around July 4th.
Understandable.
Dr. Williams will be out, myself will be out, Mr. Shea will be out. We're going to take some downtime.
Well-deserved vacation.
Yeah, we're going to take a little downtime right off the bat. We are hiring some custodians. Please look at, you know, if you know anybody, we're always looking for substitutes. Please look at School Spring for teachers. We are looking for custodians. Deb Vaughn is going to hire some more people in food services for next year. You're going to start to see a lot of those things, because I know we're looking for a couple instructional assistants. We've had some instructional assistants move into teacher positions in the last couple of days. We've hired, I've gone as quickly as I can, we've hired the interim principal at this time is Bill Clements here at the high school. We've hired an assistant principal for the high school, and he will be announced, we'll announce that in the next couple of weeks. There's just things that we do between the districts before we release any of that.
And maybe when we come back in August, we could have both of them just come and
They will.
meet the committee and, you know, introduce themselves, so that'd be great.
Yep, they
Awesome.
will.
Trista, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, just before we adjourn for the summer, I just wanted to specifically thank Liz, Gina, staff, administration, teachers, for navigating us through these, like I like to say, 100 months. And I just want to say that, in general, Liz is a great buffer that for a lot of things that go on in the district that people don't realize. And I thank you, Liz, because you kept us strong and you kept us going and you kept advocating for, you know, the teachers, the students. So thank you for that. And that's a thank you outside of your evaluation. And thank you for, you know, to anyone listening, the parents, students, for putting your trust and your faith in us as a school committee. We were put in some tough decision-making situations, and, you know, you're always trying to consider the well-being and the welfare of everybody on both sides, teachers, students, and trying to find the happy medium. So just thank you, and hopefully we can all recover from all of this and come back to normalcy next year.
Thank you, Trista.
Tim, we also have the strategic plan. I'll be putting out some dates on that. We want to take and have as many people come and share with us what they're looking for in our strategic plan. We do have the 4 pillars, and we'll be adding the 5th on diversity and inclusivity. So we want to hear what our community would like us to do and see what we already are doing, because I do think people realize that we work really hard, and I think that they understand that Dr. Williams and that group for professional development, curriculum instruction, evaluations, they work really hard, but I don't think they really understand what that means and what that looks like in articulation. I think people think that they realize what schools are about, but there's so many facets that we deal with on a daily basis. It's not just the teacher and the student. There's just a lot involved in that. But the number one person for a child is a teacher in front of them, and that's why we try very hard to do the best for the child. We do need. We have great leaders. I do think that Bill Clements is going to do a terrific job here at the high school. I think he's wrapped himself around this high school. I think he wants to be here. He wants to be here. I think he did a great job this last month staring through what he did. I mean, I think we had an event every day for the last 2 weeks for 7 through 12 up here. That's a lot. And I was a high school principal, so I get it. That's a lot. And for an elementary principal, it's a lot. I mean, we didn't have field trips this year, but, I mean, at the elementary school, you would have field trips going, you would have field day going, you would have this going, and a concert. Here at the high school, they had World Cup out there, they had an ice cream party, they had graduation on a Sunday, then I think he came back around 2 days later and he had something else. So there's a lot been going on. I think the kids ended out the year on a great note. We're very proud of the kids. I can't say enough about the student body. They did a tremendous job pre-K through 12. Watching the kindergartners leave last week, and seeing the first graders get on the bus yesterday, knowing that they're going to second grade. What a transformation that we see from kindergarten to first. But when you see a first grader from where they were when they just came back from the hybrid, I got to tell you, leaps and bounds what I saw yesterday outside. leaps and bounds. I've seen it in the classroom, but when you see them outside and they're in a more relaxed atmosphere, what our teachers have done and continue to do, tremendous work,
I agree.
just tremendous.
I agree. They should be very proud of themselves, and you all should be very proud of yourselves as well. Thank you for everything you've done for our kids.
And make sure that you go in the cookbook.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Wonderful summer, everyone. We will see each other as a committee again at the end of August, but you all know how to reach me, and we'll be in touch. So, at this time, I take a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Trista. Ellen didn't want a second.
I was giving somebody else.
Ellen doesn't want to let go.
I was giving somebody else.
All in favor? Aye. Have a good summer, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks so much.